Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Over the next few weeks, a total of 25 states will stop delivering the extra $300 a week offered by the federal government, and more states could decide to follow suit. Let's start with this cutoff of the enhanced unemployment benefits. How much of a role is that playing in a modest jobs recovery, and what could the cutoff mean for hiring down the line?
But let's take a look at the map of the states that are cutting off the enhanced benefit. It's $300 a week, and if you earn that in addition to the $300 state benefit you're getting $600 a week, which, by the way, is exactly $15 an hour, right?
So $15 an hour. Why does it matter? Because states are cutting it off. Starting this week, a lot of states across the country, that 300 bones that you were getting extra from the feds, you're not going to be getting that. That matters because people are trying to get back to work. I was talking to my friend today. She said, I got 15 jobs. 15 jobs. I had a hiring fair. 2 people showed up. 2 people, I'm like, I can't hire these people. I'm not going to hire people for the sake of hiring people. People will apply for them because it shows that you're applying for stuff, but they're not really wanting the gig. She jokes. She says, I should just stay home. Why not? It is frustrating for a lot of people out there, business owners. 15 jobs. You can't get anybody to show up. I guess for some, it's understandable. For others, I just don't get it. But I value myself more than $15 an hour. So maybe that's their issue.
Most service workers do not earn $15 an hour in this country. So the argument is that as long as these enhanced benefits are out there, folks are taking the benefits as opposed to working. We'll know more about how true that is, because if you look at the states that are cutting off the enhanced benefits and look at a calendar of it, you'll find that by July 19th or so, most of them will be done. So for the unemployment report that we get at the beginning of September, we'll know how it fared for August, and we'll know whether people are staying home or not for reasons other than the enhanced benefits.
Translation. In this world of economy, they have no choice, right? At that point, they're 15, 8. It depends. In some states, it's more, right? Some states you're getting more than 15, but it's a lot more expensive to live in those states. But some states you're getting that extra $300 a week, but you may get $500-$600 depending on the state. I think Minneapolis or Minnesota's like close to $550 to $600. California's up there as well. But it's also a little bit more expensive to live in some of those places. But when you do look around, people are going to have to make choices. That's why I say get in now. And the other people are making other choices, which is, I don't really want to go back to my job. They're trying to force me to come back. I don't want to do that. I don't really want to go there. I don't want to get back to work yet. Not like that. If they're making me come in, I'm quitting. That's insane. That's insane. Younger generation especially isn't a fan of working like an older generation. Not the way that the older generation used to work. And they're out there. There's kids out there busting their butt. No doubt about that. But the younger generation, they want a little different. Yeah, I don't know if I really want to work 40 hours. But I'd like you to make me full-time at 32 hours, 32-ish. Because I may work 33 one week, but most of the weeks I'm going to work right around 30. Can you do that for me? Can you hook that? You're like, what? Yeah, that's where we live right now. That's it. And with jobs being plentiful, but they're not the jobs I want. Okay. They're not the job you want. What's the job you want? Tell me, Cousin Eddie. Remember that? There's plenty of jobs out there. Yeah, he's more of a middle management guy. Not everybody's cut out to be middle management.
Let's take a look at average hourly earnings, right? That's the thing most people care about. If unemployment is low, your earnings generally go up. And we have seen over the course of the last year, average monthly earnings, hourly earnings actually going up. So this is a bit of a tug of war between employers and employees. Employees are hoping that employers will pay more money to get them to work.
That's what they're betting on. But now, for those people out there who didn't want to go apply for a job in a lot of these states who were saying, yeah, we're going to give a hard pass on this $300, predominantly red states, what you're going to see happening is people become desperate. Then they're going to flood the marketplace, and then it'll go from an employee position where you can go and get in early and say, look, I'm looking for this, this, and this. I'm willing to bust my butt. Can you help me out here? Now you're going to be in a position where you're like, well, you know what? Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it.
We are still down 2.5 million jobs in leisure and hospitality. We're down 509,000 jobs in manufacturing, 400,000 in retail, 500,000 in healthcare, 225,000 in construction. All that stuff's got to come back. My general opinion is that it will come back. We will have a full recovery, but some economists say it'll be 2022, sometime next year before we get there.
Yeah, I think it will. And I think we're also reshaping the world that we live in job-wise, because there are going to be hybrid models. There is going to be, you can't have something this big not reshape, but it's just very interesting. And I sit there and laugh because I talk to a lot of business owners on a daily basis. I'm blessed to be in the position I am. I own a business, and we joke about this all the time about, first of all, I want to be, first and foremost, do the best I can for the people that work for me and make sure that they're taken care of. But it is a business at the same time. And when I talk to other business owners, I mean, you know, the businesses that we do for the tech stuff, you pay, it's a different kind of pay, right? It's not one of those situations where you're paying everybody, $12 an hour or $8 an hour and they get tips or this. It's not that. But I tell you what, it is amazing when I talk to business owners, and you may be a business owner as well, how frustrated people are just to even get applicants at this point in time. Just to get somebody who's a warm body in the building. It is tough. But I guess for a lot of people, it's understandable. And it goes back to that situation where it used to be a day and age when, you were on food stamps, that was like you'd have to tear your stamp out. And, my mom, she had to do that stuff. And she was embarrassed. Now it's like, it's not a big deal. Right? It's almost like, it's all good. Right? We're all doing it. And I feel that way with jobs. Like, it's all good. They're all doing it. We're fine. We're fine. Pride seems to have gone. It has. And I know for some people, there's a few things with childcare. Not everybody. But I do ask the question, what did you do? Because most people are saying, oh, I've had 4 or 5 people tell me, I have issues with childcare. And that's what they're, and I'm like, dude, you had a kid before the coronavirus. What'd you do before then? And they just kind of look at you with this blank face. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. He's going to space, baby.
I want to go on this flight because it's a thing I've wanted to do all my life. It's an adventure. It's a big deal for me.
Yeah, that is Jeff Bezos. He's going to space. So he's going to resign. Well, he's resigning his post as CEO of Amazon next month. And a few days afterwards, he's taking the Blue Origin and he's going to space. He loves space. He's a space nerd. Absolutely super space nerd. How much of a space nerd is he? He lobbied Paramount a few years ago because he wanted to be in Star Trek Beyond. When you have friends, they're like, yeah, we'll give him a line, right? So he played a Starfleet official who had one line, and it was, are you guys ready? Speak normally. So that was funny. He lives for this. And he's going to space. Taking his brother with him, which is like, man, that's cool, right? Like, I guess. We were just talking today. Like, what if? What's a bigger story? Him going to space or something happening on the way up? And Elon Musk is sitting around going, I got to go up there. What day is he going? 15th? Schedule me a flight for the 12th. Don't even tell anybody. We're just going to go up a few days earlier. Why? Because I'll piss him off.
I invited my brother to come on this first flight because we're closest friends.
Yeah. Closest friends. Either that or it's like, I don't really like my brother, and this thing may not work. And if I'm going to blow up with somebody, I want it to be him.
You see the Earth from space, it changes you. It changes your relationship with this planet, with humanity. It's one Earth.
It's one Earth. So off he heads. Blue Origin. I find it to be very interesting. It's kind of a weird thing. It's just, but you think about this for a second. You have all the money, literally all the money you could ever dream of, and then some. You get everything you could ever dream of. You've run out of stuff here. You're building the world's biggest yacht right now, right? So it's the biggest yacht in the world. In fact, it is so big that there is a support yacht that comes with it. Even then, you've run out of things to do here. You're like, this is, people talk about like the rich getting richer and stuff. It's still ego, right? It's still this ego game of stuff. Like, what can I do that the other guy can't do? That's why owning a sports team is so big for so many of these guys, because there's only a certain amount. There's only a finite amount of teams out there to own and only a finite amount of owners. So having one is a feather in a cap that makes you cooler in some ways. Another, what do you have? That's why Stephen Ballmer, remember, he bought the Clippers and paid a huge amount of money. Why? Because nobody, I want to make sure that I have something that nobody else has. Very few people have. Space is that new place. I want to go somewhere where other people can't go. Where the regular person, they may go sooner rather than later, but I want to go now before other people. How do I get myself there now? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Hope you had a good weekend. I did. Very relaxing. I needed it. I think a lot of us need I very much been staying away from social media. And it's weird because it's part of the business, right? And at the same time, it's a succubus. It really is. And just the anger that people have towards one another just boggles my mind. It does. So it's nice. Just hung out with my dogs. The kids, the dogs, very relaxing. 323-538-2423. You tweet at me. I try to read everything. Text the program as well. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. I love Rough Greens. Give it to my dog, Doodle. He's healthier and happier than he has ever been in his life since we've had him. He's bouncy. He eats all of his Rough Greens. And Rough Greens isn't food. It's a supplement. It goes on top of your dog's food. It's got probiotics, digestive enzymes, omega-3, 6, 9. It's got all these great things, vegetables, vitamins, minerals. You just put it right on top of your dog's food, and boom, they eat it up. And they love, love, love it. What it's done is it's taken his bad arthritic hips and made it virtually so his joints and his hips do not hurt anymore. His coat is shinier. His teeth are healthier. He's happier. You do the same thing for your dog. Give it to our puppies. Right now, try it before you can buy it. You go to roughgreens.com/Chad, ruffgreens.com/Chad, or call 833-MyDog77, 833-MyDog77. When you do that, you just pay for the shipping. They're going to give it to you for free. It's that simple. You pay for shipping. They're going to give it to you for free. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
If you like talk radio like Chad Benson likes his meals, you've come to the perfect place for takeout.
He's definitely the most skilled fighter that I've ever went against. Any little error I made, he capitalized on, and I felt that immediately. It's an honor.
Jake Paul, Floyd Mayweather, they fought yesterday. Can I just say, right, like he is, he's like douche canoe central, this kid. I will say, man's a marketer, though, right? I don't know how much he's going to make from this. I have no idea how much they're going to bring in between, so you've got this guy, right? This Jake Paul. He is all that when people look and say, man, the internet is full of just people that drive everybody crazy. Some neat stuff, some crazy stuff, some fun stuff. God only knows. So Mayweather, who's already made, he wanted to prove to everybody again, I am it. I'm still the biggest draw in boxing. I'm the smartest.
My dad pushed me to be great. push me to be great. So even like tonight, if those young kids is happy, oh, I went 8 rounds, and with the exhibition, the main thing that you should be happy with is this. I mean, it wasn't a real fight, so that's really it's like some sparring in the gym. So if I'm able to come and spar, now you talking about fights got to go out there and really fight right now in the sport of boxing. They're fighting, they make 3 or 4 million. Just leading up to this fight. Just leading up to the fight. You know, my trunks alone. Just my trunks alone at 30 million. Just with the patches on my trunks, that's 30 million alone. So who's really the smartest one in the sport of boxing?
Still says he has no plans to fight ever again. But think about that, 30 million. So Jake Paul, the YouTube kingmaker now, he got 250 grand as his base. They went 8 rounds. He stood with him, and Mayweather said, look, I was surprised. Kid, you know, he definitely is, you know, he's got some athlete. He's a hell of an athlete. But he gets 10% of the pay-per-view. Ready for this? How much? Don't know. He got 10 million, Mayweather, just for being a part of the 8-round exhibition, and he's going to get 50% of the pay-per-view sales revenue. Could be worth over $100 million to him for 8 rounds. That's a sparring, which means Jake Paul will probably make 10 to 15 million. And I have news for you. There's many guys who are world champions that will never see a paycheck like that. Both of them seem pretty smart. Just don't ask Floyd to read. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Wuhan, it's heating up. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Right now, we're spending a tremendous amount of money trying to convince those unvaccinated to get it. And if you look at California, they're spending upwards of $116 million just to try to coax those unvaccinated to get it. So, you know, people overseas are vulnerable. They need the vaccine. I think it shows sort of an excess of wealth in the United States. And I think we don't look very good right now internationally.
Dr. Makari, who's going to join us actually on Thursday, he was the first one that really said, and everybody, you know, pushed back from from John Hopkins. He said, hey, you know what? April, May, we're going to be right around herd immunity. It was like, you're lying. We have so much vaccine. We can't give it away. We can't give it away. Think about that for a second. You don't have to pay for anything, and you have an opportunity to get vaccinated. And we're now trying to essentially bribe and beg people who do not want to get vaccinated for whatever reason. They're going to turn to a plant, right? They got a microchip inside of them that's going to force them to work for Bill Gates, and it's nuts. He's right. We have too much. People are dying literally to get this thing in other places, and we're like, okay, here's what we'll do. We'll have a lottery. If you sign up, we'll give you a card. So we have too many jobs. Nobody wants to work. And we're paying people, hey, you stay home. And we have so much money and vaccine that, for all intents and purposes, we're having to beg people to take it. Think about that. Soak that up. All the while we're doing this because, of course, we have this thing called the coronavirus, and the battle is still on. Now it's becoming more and more clear that people do want to hear the truth, even people that didn't want to, because it was Trump that said, hey, I think this thing came from somewhere else. Now, a lot of people were saying that, but once Trump got on that train, if you will, that train was then controlled by Trump, so people on the left are like, it's got to be conspiracy theory. There's no way that Trump could be right. We're doing everything we can to make sure that he's not right. I mean, we've been wrong about most things, but still, doesn't matter. He said it. So it can't be real. There are questions. Fauci is having to answer more and more questions about how much did you actually give to another group. So that's the way this went. NIH gave to one group who then went and helped fund a portion of this gain, in function at the Wuhan lab. Wasn't like Fauci wrote a check like, hey, yeah, Dr. Fauci, and then wrote him a check. Wasn't like that. But there are issues here. And he's, of course, he's not happy about any of this.
To understand the origins of the virus, to prevent this from happening again, to understand the origins so that you can be able to be prepared, whatever the origin is. There's this concern, is it a natural evolution or is it something that happened out of a lab, an accident or what have you? It is important to understand that. But it is being approached now in a very vehement way and by attacking me.
Okay, well, first of all, your emails, the people on the right will hyper-focus on some of the stuff. People on the left will play it off if it's no big deal. It is not I think a lot of what we see in there, people already kind of thought. I mean, it wasn't hard to see where this was going. Right? It wasn't hard to see that, yes, you know what? The NIH was involved in this at one time or another. Obama shut it down for a while, wanted to take a look at stuff. Trump made sure that money had gone there. Secondly, you were involved in this. We kind of knew all this. And the mask thing, we talked about it before. He said, look, I lied because I don't want people to go buy all these masks. And that's the stuff that people are focusing on. So, you were held up by a saint by one side of the aisle. The other looks at you as the demon. You're neither of those things. You're a human being who thought you were doing something that was right in the gain of function, and you thought you were doing right for whatever reason, your flip-flop. I blame the media on half of this stuff about pushing and damning people for saying, well, this thing's not going to, this thing looks like it may come from lab. And by the way, the mask, everybody out there is, well, the particles are too small to get right through, but you should still wear a mask. I think that was the big issue. Just be honest with people.
I think the question is extremely legitimate. You should want to know how this happened so that we can make sure it doesn't happen again. But what's happened in the middle of all that, I've become the object of extraordinary, I believe, completely inappropriate, distorted, misleading, and misrepresented attacks, which, it is what it is, but it's happening. And that's unfortunate.
Well, how about all the people out there, Dr. Fauci, who were told that even bringing this up, you're a nut job. Even talking about this, you're a nut job. How about this? You dismissed over and over certain things. You found out you really weren't dismissing them in private. In public, you dismissed them or you ignored them. Condoleezza Rice. Very, very. When we look Republicans, conservatives, this to me feels more futuresque for the party than what's going on.
There was too much of a tendency early on to dismiss this possibility of a laboratory leak. And I think the press bears some responsibility for this. Well, it had to be animal to human transmission. These were conspiracy theories about a laboratory leak. And in fact, some of the evidence was right in front of our faces.
Yeah, it was. But we didn't want to ask the question. Right. Well, because was it? Marie Harf said, well, it was the way that Trump was saying it, that it was very racist. Because why? Because he called it the Wuhan flu. Is that why? Right. The China flu, the China virus. Oh, it was xenophobic and racist. No, it wasn't. It was a shot at China. Call it the communist flu. How's that? We'll call it the communist. Is everybody okay with that? Or does that make everybody feel bad too? People wanted him to be wrong so much. They didn't care about anything else. Their goal was, we want to make sure that he's wrong. No, we should have been investing in this from jump, because the further we get away from it. You ever watch First 48, right? You watch that show? What do they say? After the first 48 hours, basically chances of catching a murderer is slim to none. Well, yeah. I think now we're moving towards 18, 19, who knows how many months. I think the chances of us finding out the truth are slim to none. But you should be able to ask the question.
Now, better late than never. I'm glad we are fully looking at this. I'm not sure we'll ever know fully the story, but putting pressure on the Chinese, taking this to the United Nations, raising the profile of what China needs to do to help us get this right. And so if we're not going to keep repeating this problem, then we're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive with the Chinese about the need to cooperate.
Yeah. No, I don't see that happening. I don't think right now, with us trying to recover, as well as the globe in some of the Western/first world parts, I don't think taking on China in some sort of battle, in particular when it's going to come to trade wars and sanctions, is something that a lot of people want to really partake in. Doesn't mean you don't get in their face, though. Doesn't mean you don't. But I don't think they care, and they'll push it. They don't care. See, the problem is for us, in certain situations, caring is a certain weakness. We're busy worried about their feelings. We're busy worried about all of this lunacy that we talk about nowadays. We're busy worried about that. They're busy trying to win. Every once in a great while, you've got to go, yeah, you know what? We want to win too. We don't need to worry about their feelings. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Yesterday, I guess not Condoleezza Rice, but Vice President Harris takes off 30 minutes. This is how much she does not want to go and talk about immigration. 30 minutes in, plane has to turn around and come back. Technical issues. Now, she got on the plane and went back down there, but this is immigration. It's another one of those things where we're so busy trying to be full of feelings and love and we're fighting with these great stories that of heartache and triumph and stuff, when we've ignored the fact that there's ways of going about doing things and there's ways not to. We have ignored these laws forever and a day. And we're continuing to do so, and that nobody really has the appetite to try to fix something.
We've been talking for so many months now about these numbers at the border. They are approaching potentially record levels on pace to match levels we haven't seen in decades right now. But this trip, it's not so much about what's happening at the border right now as it is about addressing root causes for the reasons that people are leaving their home countries.
Let me tell you what they're going to come back with. Climate change will be one of the big issues that's causing this. Crime, corruption. That's what you're going to see. There's no opportunity. Crime is rampant, and that includes the government being complicit and or taking money. You can root cause it all day. It's not hard to see what's going on in these places. But when you continue to put bad people in charge over and over again, and nothing gets done that changes anything, what do you have? You have insanity. Nothing is going to get fixed because they don't have the appetite to fix it. Because the money's too big, the power's too big, plus, let's be real, just for a smidge. Just be a little real here. The right can paint illegal immigration and the people as the boogeyman. The left can paint them as all just great, just wandering people who are, it's because of America that they've had all these issues in their country. Both sides. The reality is, has America done things in the world that's caused some issues? Yes. But their countries are the ones that we should be looking at going, why are you failing your people? Why do these people feel so desperate as to take journeys that are dangerous and deadly, fraught with risk after risk? And you do nothing. And you fail them. And you fail them. And then our government fails us and fails them. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program if you guys haven't heard. Bezos going to space. It's going to be awesome. He's invited his brother along. They're very excited. They're going to go to space and do space stuff. I don't know what they're going to do in space. But it's going to happen in just about a month's time. 1 month. Heading to space. How excited is he going to be? Very excited. Goes back to, it's a pissing contest. And and this is very much a guy thing, right? It's a guy thing. Well, you're doing that? Well, let me show you what I can do. And what haven't billionaires done yet? They haven't gone to space. Now, they've put stuff in space, but they haven't quite gone there yet. A few have made some attempts to do stuff. I know there was a big commodity trader about 10 years ago that went up on one of the space missions paid the Russian government a ton of money. But this is different. This is different. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet and text My Pillow. Great deals across everything, including the My Pillow. Right? So you got the My Pillow. You've got all these amazing options with My Pillow that includes the like of the My Pillow. This is the thing that started it all. Right? So this was it. And you can save big right now. Huge. Huge, huge, huge. Normally, you go and you look and you think, well, how much are these? How about this? $40 off, $29.98. That's what you're paying, right? $5 more for a king. That's incredible. 6-day money-back guarantee. Washable, dryable. They never deflate. It is incredible. And they've got all kinds of amazing deals. And take advantage of them right now. Don't miss out. Grab all these deals and then some. You go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code Benson. MyPillow.com. Promo code Benson. Save big. 10-year warranty. 6-day money-back guarantee. Lowest price ever. Call 800-983-4975. 800-983-4975. Get this today. Take advantage of it. $29.98 for your premium MyPillow. $5 more for a king. MyPillow.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Check out our Chad Benson Show Facebook page where you can hang out or hang your grievances out to dry. This is Chad Benson.
Something terrible happened here.
But it's all good news for The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. The third film in the horror franchise bowed with $24 million. Good enough for a first-place box office finish. And a surprise win over last week's pandemic record #1 film, A Quiet Place Part 2.
There's nothing left.
Even so, that sequel's put away an impressive $88 million in its first 2 weeks of release. Another $10.5 million for third-place Cruella. All points to a very welcome, revitalized box office.
Yep. Revitalized box office. Now, what do you have coming up in the next week or two? Well, June 11th, you're going to have Peter Rabbit 2, The Runaway. Into the Heights. Those will be the wide releases. Then, next Wednesday, The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard comes out. And that's going to be, you got Ryan Reynolds, Salma Hayek, and Samuel L. Jackson. The Hitman's Bodyguard came out about 4 years ago. Very funny. This looks pretty good as well. So it looks like and it feels like it's starting to be movie time again, which I like. I think we all enjoy going to the films. And this just it's another thing where there's something else. Yesterday, watch golf. What was happening? People around. The week before, people around. I'm watching sporting events. People around. Last night, Mexico and the United States played in the Nations League final, and the U.S. beat Mexico 3-2. But there was a large crowd there. It feels normal. Part of that, seeing that, where there's people out there, you're like, that's good. It's a good thing. More and more. Busier on the roads. Good. Busier at work. You're seeing more and more people return to work. Some places, not so much, right? Because you got a lot of kids and a lot of younger generations and even a lot of work themselves who are like, let's just give it a little while longer before we get, but there's that normal way of life that's coming back. And that, I think, makes everybody smile, especially head into the 4th of July through summer. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Check us out across all social media. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The crew members are credited for stopping a man from trying to overtake the plane yesterday. They were on a Delta flight out of Los Angeles heading to Nashville. A flight attendant and some passengers tackled the man as he tried to storm the cockpit. Witnesses say he was in a fit of rage and screaming, "Stop this plane," repeatedly.
Yeah. He did make it, by the way, to the cockpit. It's that didn't sound like a fit of rage. You just don't know. We're acting worse and worse. Have you noticed that since the pandemic, we have gotten far worse in the way that we've acted in certain places? Planes being one of them, and the mask battle continues. But when you think about what you're hearing now, and there's always incidents on plane. Think about what's going to happen in the coming weeks and months. Right now, you can get drunk before, but a lot of these places, they're not serving alcohol on the airplane. What happens then? People get pissed even more after they liquored up, and they don't want to wear that damn mask.
They were still able to hold the man down by putting his hands behind his back with zip ties. Following the incident, Delta Flight 386 was diverted to Albuquerque, where they made a safe emergency landing. Delta also thanked the crew for detaining the unruly passenger. Now, this comes as the FAA deals with a spike in outbursts on flights. Since January 1st, the agency has received more than 2,500 reports of unruly behavior by passengers. The FAA says most of them had to deal with people upset over wearing masks.
Isn't that the insanity of this, though? Like, I don't want to wear a mask, so I don't fly. I just don't. I didn't fly a lot anyways. I work so much, where am I going to go? But every once in a while, I've got to travel for work. And it's one of those things where it's like, you know what? If I can get there, like, I can do an hour. So I've had to fly to San Diego to see Jack. I could do that. Maybe go to Dallas or something like that. I could see that. But if you're asking me to travel cross country, I just don't think I'm going to be able to do it in such a way. I just know me. I mean, I'll get through it. It's uncomfortable, but I just choose not to fly. People are so pissed off, and I shouldn't be amazed anymore. I shouldn't be. Watching people argue and fight over the dumbest things. I see it on, social media. It's a 24/7 thing. Doesn't matter what you put out there. Doesn't matter anything. You could announce your child's birth and somebody's going to have something awful to say. It's just, it shouldn't amaze any of us that people suck as much as they do at times. But this pandemic has definitely done a few things. It has shown that, look, The haves and the have-nots, the haves are going to do all right. Doesn't matter what. I think most people realize that. But now they got a full understanding of it. The have-nots will struggle. They will. And they're always probably going to struggle, a lot of them. Even given chances, they'll still struggle. But it's definitely shown that there are some issues here about the haves and the have-nots and the growth of that. But it's also shown us how awful we are to each other. It's really, really brought that forward, that we have absolutely nothing nice to say to one another anymore. It's just fight after fight. Doesn't matter. We don't even start out in a conversation that escalates to a debate, that escalates to an argument. We start out in the worst place. So what we do now, instead of working forward, like, hey, somebody asks you a question or you put something out there and then they hit you with something, then you guys kind of go back and forth, and then maybe it gets a little heated. Now it starts out already in just the hottest depths of hell fight. And the hopes is to work it backwards. That's not good. It's not good. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Speaking of airlines, time to get your butt back to work, people.
Passengers are returning to their seats, masks and all, and now the major carriers are being forced to reverse the layoffs they instituted during the pandemic. Hiring within the industry had been at record highs going into 2020, with 757,000 workers on the payrolls. The workforce increases at the big three, American Airlines, United, and Delta, will essentially be a resumption of that pre-COVID hiring spree.
Yeah. Jobs are available. It feels like we're having to force people back to gigs. Got to get back to work. I think it's 13, 14 states now, run by the red side of the aisle, who've said, we no longer want any money from the government. I see over the weekend, what's the likelihood of people getting more money? When are we going to get another stimulus? I'm like, my God. You guys get for another stimulus? What about a job? There's a change.org petition where people are trying to get the government to take a look at giving them $2,000 a month. I'm like, whoa. You just don't want to work? You just want to do your own thing? You want to write poetry? I don't know what it is. You need to work.
Over the next few weeks, a total of 25 states will stop delivering the extra $300 a week offered by the federal government, and more states could decide to follow suit. Let's start with this cutoff of the enhanced unemployment benefits. How much of a role is that playing in a modest jobs recovery, and what could the cutoff mean for hiring down the line?
But let's take a look at the map of the states that are cutting off the enhanced benefit. It's $300 a week, and if you earn that in addition to the $300 state benefit you're getting $600 a week, which, by the way, is exactly $15 an hour, right?
So it's $15 an hour. So some people get other states, you're going to make more than that, but it's a lot more expensive, right? If you get $800, $900 a week in California, you're not living life large. People who make $100,000 a week are just at times getting by. And we're not talking about jobs here for, coders and cybersecurity experts and stuff. Most of these jobs are just regular jobs in and around entry level as far as wages, but there's a lot of other jobs out there. I think that's the other side. A lot of people paint it as, well, the only jobs you can get is service jobs, where you're going to get $1 an hour with some tips. Bunch of crap. You know that, and I know that. A bunch of crap. There are plenty of jobs out there. There are plenty of gigs available to people if you want to work. No, you don't have to marry the next job. But people have been taking this for so long. And the question is, the right says it's only because of the benefits. The left says, no, it's because they don't get enough money. And things have changed in such a way that people can no longer afford to live, as if they didn't live before this. Well, childcare. Did you not have a child before this? Maybe some people didn't. But it's summertime. Kids will be out of school anyways. So that's one excuse they can't can just go away. I think some people are sitting around and just saying, hey, I'm going to see where this thing goes. I'm going to ride this for as long as I can.
Most service workers do not earn $15 an hour in this country. So the argument is that as long as these enhanced benefits are out there, folks are taking the benefits as opposed to working. We'll know more about how true that is, because if you look at the states that are cutting off the enhanced benefits and look at a calendar of it, you'll find that by July 19th or so, most of them will be done. So for the unemployment report that we get at the beginning of September, we'll know how it fared for August, and we'll know whether people are staying home or not for reasons other than the enhanced benefits.
And I'm sure there are some people out there that are worried, that are terrified. But a lot of people are just taking the opportunity. Even if they're breaking even from what they had previously, if they don't have to pay for childcare, if they don't have to pay for rising cost of gas, they can stay home. It's a win for them. We can't improve our economy and move ourselves forward without people going back to work. And we need that. And it goes back to pride. Does anybody have any pride out there where they want to get themselves back to work? Does anybody out there say to themselves, even if I make less, I can't sit here all day? No, we've taken that away. And part of it probably is social media. Nobody seems to care anymore. Right? No, when I was a kid, and I go back to when I was a kid, I was acting like, I'm 160 years old. I'm 50 years old. If something embarrassing happened to you, it's like, oh my God, I hope nobody saw that. Nowadays, we live in a world where, I hope everybody saw it. When I was a kid, and I think a lot of you guys feel the same way, I joke about it. We were broke when I was growing up. I was like dirt poor. Like, my buddy Raymond and I talked about this last year. We were joking about, dude, you didn't know, you're so poor, you didn't know how poor you were. Like, my grandma paid for the house, and my mom's working 2 jobs. My dad's in and out of life, and it was just, we were dirt poor. It's like government cheese and real food stamps. And it's nowadays, it's like you get a card. It's not a big deal. It isn't. It's almost like a badge of honor. And I sit back and I say to myself, we got to get ourselves back to work. And somewhere along the line, I'd like to see a little bit of people returning to, you know what? I'm going to go out and work. I'm going to go out and work. But it doesn't seem to be that way, at least in some places. Could you imagine if we gave people $2,000 a month to stay home? Could you imagine that? There are people, I think it's 2 million people have signed this change.org thing. 2 million. Oh, yeah, I'd love it if you just gave me an extra $2,000 free. A, it's not free. And B, no. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Raycon, best earbuds around. Summertime's here. Worked out a bit this weekend. Played a little golf. Had my Raycons on. Even in the wind, even in this crazy, nasty wind that we had out here this weekend, I had to make some phone calls when I was out there on the course, and lo and behold, you could hear everything. You could hear it all. Even through the wind. It cut straight through the wind. That's what I love about Raycons. The noise isolating fit, the new soft gel tip makes the fit even better. The charging case, so you get this case with it, you plug it in and you charge it. But guess what? That is also a charger. So you unplug it, you take it with you, you could charge your earbuds then. It is awesome. Different colors. The design is amazing. And the price point will knock your socks off. Well under $100, and you get a 45-day happiness guarantee. You're going to love, love, love your Raycons. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. Save an extra 15%. If you want earbuds that are as good as anything you'll find out there, with a noise-isolating fit that is better than anything you'll find out there, with no stems, no wires, it's Raycon. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
5, 4, 3,
It's time to find out.
What's trending? What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending?
Let us take a peek, find out what's trending on the old interwebs. Starting Google, last 24 hours, number one thing here in America that's been Google search, Mexico versus USA, CONCACAF Nations League final. A million searches there. U.S. men's national team was also searched 500,000 times. The game was halted a few occasions for the anti-gay chant that the Mexican fans chant. It's not the first time, will not be the last time. No matter how much they've implored them not to, it continues to happen over and over again. Top of that, Clarence Williams III passed away. Man, better known as Link from Mod Squad. He was 81. D-Day celebrations yesterday were held across the nation. And Patrick Cantlay won the Memorial Golf Tournament yesterday in a bizarre fashion. And we're going to discuss because there was no doubt who was going to win the tournament Saturday as he walked off the 18, barring a massive collapse, which I just don't think was going to happen. And Patrick wasn't it. He was 6 shots behind. We'll talk about what took place. Head on over to Twitter. Floyd Mayweather, Logan Paul's exhibition trending everywhere there. If you haven't seen it, we'll know the numbers later, probably in the next day or two for real, on how much each made. But the YouTube star went the distance, 8 rounds. There was no judges. You could knock somebody down. There was none of that stuff. But it was just a very, it was an exhibition. That was it. Just having fun exhibition for $49.99. Top of that, you'll find out what's going on. The New Yorker has obtained recordings on how Koch operatives are trying to kill an election reform bill that would keep a large anonymous donors out of elections despite broad bipartisan voter support. So they want to know who's giving, who's doing what, right? Because that way you can come after them and then you can try to cancel them. That's what it's all about. But it's also you can find out who's throwing money. That's why when you watch those commercials and you're wondering, I don't know which way to vote on this certain thing or that certain thing, always wait till the end. Because at the end of it, it'll tell you who it's paid for by. And that's when you go, oh, okay. I see who's paying for it. So that must mean that it's upsetting this group of people. And this group of people have skin in the game, so they're running an ad against this. So it's very interesting. And so now, if we have a chance to find out who's doing what, even more so, who's giving what. Now, I think that should be for large groups. But at the end of the day, what do? They throw all that money into those PACs. And that's where that deep, dark money goes. And they can do whatever they want with it. And they run articles, and they buy ads, and they do all kinds of things that are essentially tough to find out what's true and what's not true. As much as we worry about, foreign influence, we influence with lies as much as anybody else. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. A mom did what? Wait till you hear this story. Because, Florida. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
With billions in the bank, there's little that Jeff Bezos hasn't done. On July 20th, he intends to check going into space off the list.
It's a thing I've wanted to do all my life.
One of the other 6 seats on that inaugural trip to the edge of space is to be occupied by another Bezos, Jeff's brother, Mark.
I really want you to come with me. Would you?
Are you serious?
I am. I think it would be meaningful.
Nearly 6,000 others have bid on tickets for that first flight.
Yep, Bezos is going to space. He's pumped, taking his brother.
I want to go on this flight because it's a thing I've wanted to do all my life. It's an adventure. It's a big deal for me. You see the Earth from space, and it changes you. It changes your relationship with this planet, with humanity. It's one Earth.
One Earth. So he's excited. He's going to take his brother, says his best friend. So you got to have music, right? So, I mean, you have to. You can't just take off with no music. You got to have something. Now, you could go with the hard rock, right? You could do that thing. Or you could do something that's real.
It's the Great Space Coaster. Get on board on the Great Space Coaster. We'll explore a comet ride, a fantasy, to a place where dreams fly fast and free.
Yeah.
With new friends and new things to see. We'll spin you through the galaxy on the Great Space Coaster.
Totally. I would totally do that.
We go. Get on board, step inside, soaring for a magic ride. Roaring toward the other side, where only rainbows hide.
I'm telling you, it's perfect.
On the Great Space Coaster. 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 Off we go.
Perfect. Why is he doing this? Because he can. Because he can't. There's nothing else for him to do. There is zero for him to do. He's conquered business. One time was the richest man on the planet. Probably will be again at some point. I think he's fallen to 3rd or 4th. Give some money to his ex. And then was it Bernard Arnault who owns all the big fashion houses, Louis Vuitton, all those. He's number 1 right now. But hey, Bezos will be back in. But you've run out of stuff to do. Right? You own TV, movies. You've been in a movie. You were in the Star Trek movie because you wanted to be in a Star Trek movie. You went to Paramount. You said, hey, you should probably put me in this movie. They're like, I don't know. He's like, or I could buy you. And then I could just make me the star of all these movies. We could do that. That could happen. They're like, all right, we'll give you a line. It's that simple. I still might buy you anyways. Now it's about ego. It's not about money at this point. They don't care about money. It's what can I check off the box that you. But this is a guy thing, right? Like this is the difference is like when normal people, everyday people, one up each other or try to do something. Like we talked about it last week. Like Mike Posner, the singer, artist, writer, music. That guy, you know, he's had a couple massive hits. He's written big songs for other people. Right? He tried to walk across the country, raise a bunch of money for people. Remember he got bit? He got bit by a rattlesnake, had to be airlifted. But he climbed Mount Everest. You're like, okay, that's cool. Like you this is like when you want to talk about the most interesting man in the world. That's awesome. 99.9999999% of people on Earth will never do that. They'll never have a major hit, and they will never climb Mount Everest. They'll never walk across their state. Hell, they won't walk across their city, let alone the country. Play in front of hundreds of thousands of people. This is different. This guy's like, I got so many dreams. And the other guy over here's got just as much money. I got so many dreams too. And they're like, oh, this is great. Let me tell you about my dreams. I'm doing this. And the other guy's going, I know I'm doing that. It's a pissing contest. It's Anthony and Phil and I were talking about it off the air. He's like, it's different than Denny's. Yeah, it's different than somebody having a pissing contest in Denny's. But here's the deal. The reality is it's a guy thing. It's a super guy thing. Because the reason we have the Olympics is because people wanted to go, I'm faster than you. I can do other things you can't do. Oh, yeah? I dare you. Show me. I can jump over stuff. Yeah, can you? Well, so can I. I'm run faster than you. That's why. And now you're at the point where it's like, hey, this guy's building the biggest yacht in the world. Which, by the way, his yacht, for those of you not keeping score, is going to be so massive. 1,417 feet, almost 130 meters. It's going to cost about $500 million. Do you want to know how big it is? It comes with its own yacht. I'm going to say that again. His yacht comes with his own yacht. What? Wait, what? How does his yacht come with a yacht? Because there's other things that he wants to do, and he needs a support yacht with a helipad. The $500 million does not account for the other yacht. He's done everything, wants to do something else. Now you're just looking around there going, okay, what do you think that Elon's going to do? Because Elon's going to, what's his whole goal? Right? What'd you do? You flew around space for 12 days? I'm going to do 15. I'm going to go 5 miles further than you did. And that's what it's about. It's always, at this point, it's an ego trip. And if you got the money and it's expensive, might as well take it. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. This took place in Texas. I don't even know what to say at this point in time. Other than, what you thinking, Mom?
Okay, I'll record once I'm inside. I gotta get in. Okay, do I look like a seventh grader? No? Cool. Awesome. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fine, and yourself?
Great.
I am literally on the campgrounds of a middle school.
But a 30-year-old disguising as a 13-year-old and made it through lunch?
Yeah. Casey Garcia, she's 13. She poses her 13-year-old daughter for what she described as a social experiment. I'm sure, realistically, not so much a social experiment as an experiment to see how many likes she can get, because I bet you she's got some sort of social media channel. So she goes on the campus there. Finally, somebody's like, I'm thinking no.
Well, I finally got caught. I told him that I would go to the principal's office, so I guess we're gonna see what happens.
Just want to say thank you to all the girls that helped me get to all of my classes yesterday. I really, really appreciate it. I honestly would have been discovered way sooner if it weren't for you. And if you knew my secret and you kept it for me, thank you so much for not saying anything. I honestly could have not made it the entire day as a middle school student without you.
Yep, like and subscribe. That's life now. Life is nothing but like and subscribe. She was arrested. You can call it. Oh yeah, you know what it is? It's just it's an experiment. It's a social. I want to show you how easy it is to sneak onto a campus. That's my social experiment. I want to show you how easy it is to get onto the campus. The problem is you've tampered with government records, criminal trespassing. You're going to have yourself in a bit of hurt. Now, do I think she's going to go to jail? No, but it shows you, like, this is what goes on in our world now. It's like, it's all about look at me. It is. And we live in and how could you not think that, right? How could you not think, well, why would anybody want to do something like that? I'll tell you why. Yesterday, right? Yesterday, there was a fight between Floyd Mayweather and Jake Paul. If you don't know Jake Paul, him and his brother Logan, they are big YouTubers. And they're annoying, and they eat up the fact that they are what they are. They got no problems with it. They love the fact that they're villains. So Logan, fought yesterday, and he was pumped. He was excited. He got to fight Floyd Mayweather in an 8-round exhibition. He stands to make $10, $15 million off of it. Think about that for a second. Why do people do dumb things? Because nowadays, dumb pays well.
He's definitely the most skilled fighter that I've ever went against. Any little error I made, he capitalized on, and I felt that immediately. It's an honor.
Yeah, it's an honor. It's an honor. You got to go 8 rounds with him. There was no judges. There wasn't going to be any winners. People booed. But it's an event. And he uses his social media basically to turn himself into a legitimate money-making machine beyond just being a YouTube sensation, beyond just being a person that goes on there. Everybody's looking, and they say to themselves, I don't have to go and be found in L.A., right? I don't have to be found at a drugstore. I don't have to be, oh, my God, look at you. I'd like to put you in the... That's gone now. Now you could be a star immediately. And the money's big. By the way, Logan has 23 million subscribers. Logan Paul. 5.13 on the official Logan Paul. And 100,000 on Logan and DJ Slice. Total views. You ready for this, kids? This is insane. 5.77 billion on Logan Paul. Almost 700 million on the official Logan Paul. And this Logan Paul DJ Slice, which is brand new, has about 11 million. And he made a ton of money yesterday. And you wonder why somebody wants to sneak in somewhere? Because we give them the opportunity to do it. And that's not the opportunity to sneak in as a social experiment. It's the opportunity to socially try to expand your base. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet us. Don't worry, I still got a good Florida story. Because, it wouldn't be Florida without Florida. And this one is spectacular. It'll make you think completely different about Outback Steakhouse. My Pillow, the My Pillow, right now it's on sale. It's $40 off. It's $29.98. $5 more for a king size. Queen size, $29.98. King size, $5 more. 60-day money back guarantee. 10-year warranty. Machine washable and dryable. It's never going to deflate. It's the thing that started it all. Your chance to own it. $40 off, which you normally pay for it, but they've got everything and then some. From the My Slippers to the Giza Dream Sheets to the towels, the mattress toppers, you name it, they've got it. And your chance is right now to grab any of those on deep discounts. It's simple and easy. You go to mypillow.com. You use the promo code Benson. That's simple. You can take advantage of it and get the My Pillow, the one that started it all. Very, 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 very inexpensive. Less than $30. $5 more for the king size. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson, or call 800-983-4975. 800-983-4975. Get these deep discounts now. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson today. Chad Benson Show.
Podcasts are American as hot dogs, apple pie, football, and sushi.
Oh, my goodness. No.
Okay, maybe not sushi. Next time you have a craving for something sweet and tangy, download a Chad Benson Show podcast.
Boy, that is good. It's different because you get a little bit of saltiness. It's so good because it's sweet and salty at the same time.
Get a taste on iTunes, iHeart, or Spotify and binge to your ears' content.
Oh, yeah.
You're listening to The Chad Benson Show.
You're never going to look at Outback Steakhouse the same way.
Photos captured the moment a naked woman destroyed a bar in Florida before police came in and shot her with a stun gun before taking her into custody. Tina Kindred, 53, was acting out of control, according to reports from the local sheriff's office.
Yeah. She's 53. She's out of control. Tina Kindred. She's naked, standing on top of the bar. She starts trashing everything. It's not very funny, Chad. It's a little bit. Because it's Florida, right? Like, rarely do you hear about, like, do you hear what happened in Seattle? Like, Seattle's got their own issues, right? They're like, hey, we've just given up an entire block to whoever wants it. But when it comes to just totally absurd, there's just nobody. I mean, they're the undisputed. Germany is Florida's European cousin, and Arizona is the little adopted redheaded nephew. It's on its way. But Florida wins, hands down. So there's actually video footage of this, and she's just standing there, naked as a jaybird, just throwing stuff off.
Young girl! Young girl! Young girl! Young girl! On your stomach! Do it now! On your stomach! On your stomach, you're gonna get again! On your stomach, you're gonna get again! Oh my God. Put your hands behind your back! If you move, you get it again!
She laid on her stomach. Restaurants in tatters. People are like, this is why I come here. I'm never disappointed at the Outback Steakhouse. She said Kindred did claim to go to the Outback with intentions of trashing the place. Said several $1,000s in damage. She claimed to originally target the Mojo Grill because she felt the owner was dishonest. This is why you go, right? Like, this is like dinner. This is Florida's version of dinner theater. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. If you guys have not heard, there is yet another royal.
Harry and Meghan managed to keep this happy news a secret for about 48 hours. Then they shared it on their own terms. The couple has said they hope to have kids close in age. Well, now big brother Archie has a baby sister just 2 years younger, and this family of 4 is complete.
Oh, family of 4, huh?
Born Friday at 11:40 a.m. at Santa Barbara Cottage Hospital in California, weighing 7 pounds 11 ounces. Lily is the first senior royal born in the U.S. The family's newest bundle of joy named in honor of a pair of important women in Harry's life. Lilibet, a family nickname for his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, who couldn't pronounce her own name when she was little. And of course, Diana, for his beloved late mother.
Yep. They should have called Archie Mohammed. Really pissed off the royal family. Oh, my Lord. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
To understand the origins of the virus, to prevent this from happening again, to understand the origins so that you can be able to be prepared, whatever the origin is. You know, there's this concern, is it a natural evolution or is it something that happened out of a lab, an accident or what have you? It is important to understand that. But it is being approached now in a very vehement way and by attacking me.
Fauci upset because people are attacking him. Well, let's flip the script for a while. For well over a year, anybody who brought up, hey, this thing may have started in lab, not just people who only support Trump and anything he says is he's Yahweh, we'll follow him. If he told us to jump off a bridge, we'd do it. Not just, we're talking about anybody at all, right? Anybody. Jamie Meltzer leans to the left. Advisor of the World Health Organization. We've had him on our show. He brought it up for a long time. Was it Brett and Eric Weinstein? Professors, biology, smart people. They brought it up for a long time. The way this thing traveled from person to person and continued to make a jump over and over again as fast as it did makes you feel like, maybe there was some issues here, Dr. Fauci. Your emails. There was some worry about this. So, yes, the people that were demonized for saying there may have been more here than meets the eye were told they were insane. So I don't feel bad for you. I don't.
I think the question is extremely legitimate. You should want to know how this happened so that we can make sure it doesn't happen again. But what's happened in the middle of all that, I've become the object of extraordinary, I believe, completely inappropriate, distorted, misleading, and misrepresented attacks, which, it is what it is, but it's happening. And that's unfortunate.
That's the world we live in now. We start with awful things to say to one another that you would just say in your house normally, watching Fox or MSNBC. And now we got a place where we can just spit it out there to the world. In saying all of that, though, let's be real. People were told it's a conspiracy theory. People were told, can ask that question. People were told over and over again that this is a hoax and it's a lie. And why was that? Because the guy that said it the loudest was the guy that everybody hated on the left, which so much of the left is the media. And they didn't want to give him any cover, especially during an election year, where if it all went to hell in a handbasket, Trump could be blamed for some of this stuff. That's a win. But if this was true, that could give him cover. Oh. So the whole thing was just deny, deny, deny. Mike Pompeo's a bad guy because he's on the right? So anybody who brings this up was bad, bad, bad. Even people on the left, they were just ignored. And they shouldn't have been. And the bigger thing here is, I think we can all honestly say, if we had a better house, I go back to that, right? What do you think happened? Where do you think it came from? I think most people probably say, politics aside, probably came from a lab leak. Now it's getting tons of traction.
There was too much of a tendency early on to dismiss this possibility of a laboratory leak. And I think the press bears some responsibility for this. Well, it had to be animal to human transmission. These were conspiracy theories about a laboratory leak. And in fact, some of the evidence was right in front of our faces.
Yeah, Condoleezza Rice. Smart lady. She gets it. Yeah, it's right in front of our faces. You didn't have to. It wasn't like you're making a big leap. Like so many of conspiracy theories, you're making a giant leap. Right? You two people that were in a room, or they were in a room, not together. They just happened to be in the same room at one point in time. And you start tying stuff together. But you look at the emails. I don't think Fauci's I don't think he's a demon, and I don't think he's a saint. I think he's a human being. And I think he was worried. He was trying to CYA himself. And I think some of those things, when read into some of those emails, they look, I don't want to say damning, but you have questions to ask. And we're not even talking about the mass side of thing. But the issue goes back to, once again, the media is telling you it's a giant lie. The media is telling you it's a bunch of crap. The media is telling you this is true, this is false. They're not giving you the who, what, when, how, and why. They're saying, here's the truth. And this is the lie. And you're like, actually, I don't know the truth, and neither do you.
Now, better late than never. I'm glad we are fully looking at this. I'm not sure we'll ever know fully the story, but putting pressure on the Chinese, taking this to the United Nations, raising the profile of what China needs to do to help us get this right. And so if we're not going to keep repeating this problem, then we're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive with the Chinese about the need to cooperate.
Yeah, but they're not going to cooperate. They have no desire to cooperate. They have zero. And I was, have you guys ever seen the first 48? Well, if you've never seen the first 48, it's It's interesting. It's a TV show, and essentially what homicide detectives say is the best time to stop or to find a murderer is in the first 48 hours after the murder. Once it gets past that, the chances of you solving that draw down tremendously. In fact, by the time it gets to the 49th hour, they said the chance of you solving it drops by half. And then every subsequent day, week, month, year, it just gets smaller and smaller. We're well past that now with them. Well past it. And the media continued to play this game. The media continued to push this baloney. The media continued to throw stuff out there. And the only media that covered it was the right-wing media. Right? It was Fox, Newsmax, Breitbart's. They had real questions. And because everybody on the left had already vilified, the Tucker Carlsons of the world and anybody else and the Hannitys, look, that's fine. But it doesn't mean that the people they were talking to were insane. But according to the people on the left, they knew the truth. And then as more and more people who, for all intents and purposes, lived on the left-hand side said, well, hold on a second, there's something to this. Oh, there is? But we've already said it's not true. You guys jumped to conclusions because you didn't like that guy. You're saying it isn't true because you don't like him. We're saying from the scientific point of view, which matters more than you not liking him, that there may be some there. But we've already said this. Yeah, but you always said that, too, about the Russia thing. Remember that? Carl, you said that about this, and you said there's a lot of things you said that didn't turn out to be true. Because you deemed it to be so doesn't make it so. And that's the thing about this. That's the thing. It's like with the fact checkers. You ever seen who fact checks the fact checkers? You go into the fact checking world, and it's not hard, by the way, to fact check stuff for real. You don't have to go to fact checkers. You can do it yourself if you so choose. Whenever you go into the fact check, if somebody on the left says something, they put some sort of context into it. Well, what they really mean no, it doesn't, yes or no. Is this true? Is it not true? They would try to paint a different picture than when somebody on the right. And just because you don't like somebody doesn't mean they're lying. Just because you don't like somebody doesn't mean what they're saying doesn't have validity and truth. And that's where we stood. And that's why we will never know what happened. When we had a time to get in there early, they had covered it enough. And we had enough time to get in there and really dig in earlier. There was no pressure put on. Lo and behold, here we are, God knows how many months later, 18, 19 months, since it really hit the world stage. The chances of us finding out any of that stuff is slim to none. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. I do. Check us out across all social media. Love, love, love my Omaha steaks. This is what's great about Omaha steaks. So I got the Get Out and Grill assortment, and it is delicious. It's a Father's Day dream, by the way. It is incredible. The Get Out and Grill is just awesome. So I've already gone through my Get Out and Grill. Yeah, I did it already. I went through my Get Out and Grill already. There's nothing left. I went through the amazing steaks, which were incredible. I went through the jumbo franks. I went through the fries. That's right, fries. And the caramel apple tartlets, the chicken breast, the Omaha steak burgers, all gone. Dad needs something real. Dad's working hard, just like Mom is, just like you do. It's time to send Dad something good. And Dad, sometimes you got to go, I got to do it for myself. And the Get Out and Grill assortment is incredible. Right now, 59% off. It includes 20 entrees that Dad's going to love. The ultra juicy burgers, the chicken breast, the sides, desserts, the 10-ounce butcher cut New York strips. And remember, age 30 days, age equals tenderness. Don't waste your time getting him a tie. Get Dad the thing he wants. Get him Omaha Steaks, because it's not just steak. It's the best steak of your life. And you will love, love, love it, because Dad's going to grill it up for you. Get out and grill assortment right now, and they're going to throw in 4 free New York strip burgers, 59% off today. Tell Dad you love him big time. Go to omahasteak.com. Right there in the search bar, when you're up there, Chad. That's the keyword. omahasteaks.com, keyword Chad. The amazing Get Out and Grill assortment, 59% off. Perfect Father's Day gift. Perfect gift for your appetite. omahasteaks.com, keyword Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
Jose Santos Sanchez entered the U.S. illegally in 1993, but was given temporary protected status in 2001. The designation by the State Department reflected unsafe living conditions in his native El Salvador. Sanchez applied for a green card, but was denied, and the U.S. Supreme Court upheld the denial. The justices said immigrants living in the U.S. under temporary protected status are unable to apply for a green card unless they were first lawfully admitted at a port of entry. Temporary protected status, the decision said, does not make an unlawful entrant like Sanchez eligible to become a legal permanent resident.
Yeah. Just to give you an example of what that looked like, 9-0. So, TPS, that's temporary protected status. If you're here illegally and you apply for it, temporary protective status. I think El Salvador in 91, they gave some protected who applied for it in the right way protected status because of a massive earthquake there. So they gave some, but a lot of people came here illegally and they got this, and now they've been ruled, no, you're not eligible for this if you've done it illegally. Just you can't. It's not eligible. Oh. And it goes back to, we're looking at immigration at this moment in time on a daily basis. It's getting uglier and uglier. And the U.S. is not doing anything really other than talking about it. Now, this week, it started out, by the way, by, in theory, she got there eventually. A quick little Air Force 2 plane ride where she was going to go, vice president, right? Talk to Obrador in Mexico and do some stuff in Honduras and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden her plane had to turn around after 30 minutes, come back. They scheduled another flight. But immigration is not being dealt with. Now, the way they're looking at dealing with it is let's just go to the heart of the matter.
We've been talking for so many months now about these numbers at the border. They are approaching potentially record levels on pace to match levels we haven't seen in decades right now. But this trip, it's not so much about what's happening at the border right now as it is about addressing root causes for the reasons that people are leaving their home countries.
Yeah, they're leaving their home countries for a lot of reasons. One of which is their home countries suck. Why? Because of poor management. Let's just break it down and keep it simple. Stupid kids. Their management of their countries are awful. Corruption runs wild. Violence is everywhere. It is tolerated. There's a lot of things that go into it. And have we played a part in it? Of course we have. We've also played a part the fact that we fund a lot of their stuff and we send them money. And now the thing is, well, how do we keep people there? It's just not going to happen. No matter how much money we continue to hand the triangle, if you will, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, it's not going to fix anything. Why we had a downturn last year wasn't just because of the coronavirus. I said, well, the only reason people stopped coming was the coronavirus. That's wrong. People are going to try to make it here, more so probably than anything else. But the reality was you got to the border and you were told you had to stay on the other side if you're applying for something. Now, people snuck in. They're going to continue to do that no matter how good you have your setup. But how do you keep people in their countries? Why? It's become our problem to keep people in their countries. Why? Because we've ignored immigration forever and a day. And we've allowed those countries to use their people as a great export in repatriation of money, which keeps some of their economy flowing.
We're expecting announcements potentially on asylum seekers here in this country, human trafficking, possibly something on trying to tackle corruption in the region. It's not clear exactly how much teeth some of these measures are going to have, given how complicated these issues all are.
We're not going to do anything. Neither side has the real want to take this thing on. And now there's an app. Biden's been pushing quietly this app that's out there. They built an app to help people track asylum seekers that are released in the U.S. It's frustrating. It is. It is frustrating. But the first rule that's come down, protected status, temporarily, SCOTUS has ruled and said, no, you're not eligible if you came here illegally. Chad Benson Show.
Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Do you think that adversaries of the United States have the capability right now to shut down the power grid?
Yeah, they do. I mean, I think that there are very malign actors who are trying, even as we speak. There are thousands of attacks on all aspects of the energy sector and the private sector generally. I mean, the meat plant, for example. It's happening all the time.
Jennifer Granholm, Energy Secretary. Could they shut it down? Yeah, we shut down theirs. They could shut down ours. So when you see hackers, and cyber hacking has been around forever, and ransomware has been around for a while, and most of what you've seen over the last couple of weeks is something that's been going on for several years, and most of the time it goes on, where they take control of a small municipality and they ask them to get, now it's Bitcoin or I don't think they want Dogecoin, but you don't know. It's possible. But this has been going on. We've seen it now, though, escalate in a much different way. But there's a difference between escalation in the private sector and escalation in the geopolitical fashion where we could trace it back to a country and or an individual within inside a country, where we could then say, because of you, individual, we look at this as an act of war. Nobody wants that. So yes, do people in Eastern Europe in particular do things over the last several years because they can get away with it? They're protected. They're hidden in places where the rulers themselves who rule those nations, and many times very authoritative rulers. You got these authoritarian rulers who they take their little vig and they're fine with these guys doing what they're doing because it pisses the West off. And on top of that, it brings them some funds. South Korea, America, Australia, do we spy and do some things to other nations? Yes. But we do know that China, we do know that obviously Eastern Europe, we do know that North Korea, even though they have very little going on in North Korea, this kind of stuff, hacking, is one of the ways they generate revenue. But shutting down a power grid, especially at a time, where you could see people at any time, it's going to be looked at as an act of war. It's different when, you attack a hospital, as awful as it is. They'll get up and running. You attack something like a power grid. It's an infrastructure type thing. People are going to look at you try to attack our country, not a group, not a business, but our country.
And this is why the private sector and the public sector have to work together with our allies. He's working with countries around the world because other countries, even Russia, they don't want to see their sectors attacked by malign actors. The president has issued these executive orders to make sure that our own house is in order.
We're more into spying than taking down some of their stuff, but would we if we had to? Of course. Of course we would. But we're more into spying, finding out what's going on, who's going on. And Russia doesn't want this to come back and bite them in the ass. And that's who we're really talking about more often than not. But this isn't going anywhere anytime soon. It isn't. It's not going anywhere anytime soon because the way that people look at it is it's bad, but it's not violent. It's annoying and it pisses people off, but it hits large corporations. They're not attacking Jim the plumber, right? They're not attacking him. They're not attacking the lady down the street who owns a veterinarian facility. You know, they're not attacking Dr. Someone. They're going after things where they know they can get X amount of dollars. But when you get into infrastructure, it changes everything.
You know, on the pipelines, because the pipelines were a concern, obviously. The TSA, which actually regulates the pipelines, has now required the pipelines to report cyber incidents to the federal government so that we at least have intel. But the bottom line is people, whether you're private sector, public sector, whatever, you shouldn't be paying ransomware attacks because it only encourages the bad guys.
But they've done it for years. Just like the shipping companies have paid the pirates for years. They paid them for years because it was just easier than potentially creating an incident. And you've seen a few of those, right? I mean, obviously we can go back to Captain Phillips and stuff like that, but it to them, it's a business, right? Like it's a business. It's not personal. It's just business. We see something. We're coming here. You're going to, and in some cases, they get ahead of it. In some cases, they'll make sure that the pirates know, hey, this ship's coming. They're going to give you some money to basically turn a blind eye and just let them go through without trying to attack their boat. It sounds stupid, but it's one more cost of doing business in today's world. And in certain places, so many people are able to do things under this guise of, well, we didn't know they were in our country, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, when we absolutely knew they were in that country. Speaking of that, there's a new article out today about Kim Jong-un and he's waging a war on jeans, on Western slang and foreign films. This is incredible. So, any states in this new law, get ready for this. So, if a worker is caught, the head of a factory can be punished. If a child is problematic, parents can also be punished. The system of mutual monitoring encouraged by the North Korea regime is aggressively affecting in its laws. The new thing, essentially, if you are caught with anything from Japan, South Korea, or America as far as entertainment goes, you face 15 years of hard labor up to execution. Ooh. Yeah. Same thing goes for jeans and slang. It's incredible. The article starts by a young lady by the name of Yun Moon saying she was 11 when a man on her street was executed because he was caught watching a South Korean drama. The entire neighborhood was forced to watch. Otherwise, you would be considered a traitor. Is that every time I hear, like, you know, even when Trump was in office, you know, it's like I hear it now, you know, like it's like, Biden's the most progressive. I'm like, settle. It's going to become communist. Like, shut up. People out there, Trump is authoritarian. You never see it. I'm like, did you guys have any idea what that really means? Do you? Do you have any idea what that means? Do you have any idea of what it really, really stands for when you talk about stuff like this? When you throw stuff out there that is so insane. Oh, yeah, he's the most authoritarian president in the history of presidents. Oh, really? So, well, it's not very authoritarian because he didn't destroy the media. It's still there, and it helped get him out of the office. They're still talking crap about him, right? Like, I'm sure if you went and mentioned something horrible about Kim Jong-un's father right now or his grandfather, you'd probably not fare well. So that's real authoritarianism right there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. It does. Any pet food better. How does it do it? Well, first of all, it's about the taste. Dogs love it. My dogs love it. Sprinkle it on. It's Canine Vitasmarts. It's a supplement right on top of your dog's food. So it gives it a little spice. That's what I hear. That's what they told me. I don't know if I believe them, but they lick the bowl, so I got to believe that they enjoy it. But it's what it does to their body that is amazing. It's got vitamins, vegetables, minerals. Canine Vitasmart is so good. It's got probiotics, right? Digestive enzymes, omega-3, 6, 9 inside of it. It has made my older dog Doodle happier and healthier than he's ever been. His arthritic hips, his coat, all of those things are so much better. Right now, they want you to try it before you buy it. It's simple. You go to ruffgreens.com/Chad, ruffgreens.com/Chad. When you do, you pay for the shipping. They're going to give you the bag for free. Or you can call 833-MY-DOG-77, 833-MY-DOG-77. You pay for shipping. They give you a bag for free. You will see immediate improvements. After a couple of weeks, you'll watch what happens. We give it to our puppies, and we've given it to our dog Doodle, the older one, for a long time. His life is so much better. Try it now. ruffgreens.com/Chad. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
Oh, yes. Good call, Frank. We got a redesign coming next year now. 1 and a 2.
That is John Rahm, Saturday. Golf. The Memorial. That was Jack Nicklaus there. It was his tournament, the Memorial. John Rahm, one of the best players in the world, motoring through. It just wasn't even close. He's the defending champ, was absolutely destroying everybody. Up by 6. Finishes the 18th hole. It was going to be a shot for second. Guys in second and third, Patrick Cantlay, Colin Morikawa, they're both 6 shots back. Both of them had previously won on that course. John Rahm gets off immediately after holing his last putt when he is met by the officials who told him, "You're not playing. You have to pull out. You tested positive for COVID." Now, the way it went down was very odd because CBS is following it and watching it. The way he kind of collapses, you think somebody in his family's died. But no, he had tested positive. Apparently they were somebody else had tested positive earlier or late last week, earlier this week. So they were contact tracing. He was going in every day and getting tested. They tested him in the morning. It came back positive. They wanted to make sure it wasn't a false test. He was playing through the day. He had no idea. And they didn't get information until afterwards. People, right after he'd finished, like a few seconds before. And you were thinking to yourself, why are they out there? What's the deal? Why right then?
He was informed by our medical advisor. It's an unfortunate situation and difficult to find an ideal opportunity to notify him. But our medical advisor notified him before he went into scoring, and that was how it was conducted.
Yep, he was handed a mask, told him he had to go right on into scoring. He had gotten, apparently, some people saying, why didn't he have a vaccine? He really got a vaccine earlier in the week. It didn't have enough time to build up, and he'd already been exposed to it. And people are asking, well, hold on a second. He's asymptomatic. Why don't you just let him play? Right? Why don't you just let him play on his own, by himself? Because in golf, you're not getting a lot of wins. You may pay 400 or 500 tournaments, 600 tournaments in your lifetime. You may win. Well, if you win once, it's great. You may win a half a dozen to 20 times. So it's not like you're winning all the time. He would have got a 3-year exemption. I mean, I'm just not worried about whether or not he's going to play next year. But just the way it was handled was bizarre.
Unless someone is asymptomatic and is able to produce 2 negative tests, a minimum of 24 hours apart. Unfortunately, the timing would not allow John to continue to participate.
Yeah, so he had to withdraw, which means he didn't get anything. He would have won $7 million. He got nothing out of it. Cost him, actually, to be there. It's not free. They don't fly you in, put you up. So, but just, I think the way it was handled, I think a lot of people are taken back by this. Even the guys who won yesterday said, look, the reality is we wouldn't have won. Wouldn't have happened. Not the way this guy was playing. It was just a bizarre situation. And more players are upset, saying, why couldn't he play by himself? Well, he can't do that because they give him an unfair advantage. Well, put somebody else out there who's been vaccinated then. But it is what it is. It was just a weird thing to watch this weekend. And then you think to yourself, man, it's you look, golfers, these, like any sport, your time at the top is limited, and making money is, it's limited at times. So I think everybody thinks that all these athletes, you see last week, it's a perfect example of a lot of these guys are competing day to day for everything. There was at the French Open last week, you had a Russian tennis player who, the minute she completed, I think it was the second or third round of the French Open, they arrested her because last year she threw, supposedly, allegedly, a game. Because outside of very few, none of these players make a ton of money. She'd been a pro for like 10 years. She only make like $400,000, $300,000. Hell, 90% of these players make their money now, especially like female players, they make their money off Instagram and sponsorships. Happens a lot, even with the men. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Speaking of golf, sometimes your eyeballs will give you a better direction.
Newton police responding early this morning to a driver who says his GPS led him the back way into Brayburn Country Club.
When the officer spoke to the operator, he told them that he was following an app on his phone, Waze, and it led him up a dirt road and onto the golf course.
Police say the driver had dropped off his friends around 2 a.m. and got lost on his way home. Around 5 in the morning, a worker called police after finding the SUV, the front end stuck in the rough at the 6th hole.
I just love the guys. After finding the operator, it sounded very, very, very much kind of that upper crust there. I love how, though, you just followed it to a T. Oh, I guess I should go right through here.
The man had driven through the back of the Woodland Tea Station and past a fence into the exclusive club before getting stuck. Police say the man was not driving under the influence.
Fortunately, there was no damage to the golf course, and more importantly, the operator of the vehicle was not injured.
From the sky, you can see the tire marks on the fairway as a golf cart, tow truck, and SUV head out the way the driver came in. Police say the bizarre off-road adventure should be a lesson to all behind the wheel.
We tell people, always use your eyes, always use common sense. Don't rely upon an app on a phone to tell you where to go.
Yeah. He was probably disqualified as well. Stupid is as stupid does. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Have a great rest of your day and evening. We'll do it again mañana. As always, night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.